G'day guys, welcome to this week's weekly developer update. I'm CW and joining me once again we have Armenio. How are you, mate?
Doing well.
Yeah, well, I don't know how. Another week in this crypto industry. It's interesting times, isn't it, just to say the least?
Oh, what can you do? Yeah, you have the SEC on the march. There's a lot of let's say ongoing assaults and kind of like the crypto banking infrastructure. A lot of open questions about exchanges. It's hard to say where things end up. I think that ultimately whatever passes solid user assumptions and centralized environments is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
The crypto industry could be a little crazy. We did see FTX blow up, and it just shows the power and the attack vectors that those type of actors have. So being that they interact with a industry that is supposed to be trustless anyway, there's a lot of black boxes out there and assumptions users need to understand and make. But a lot of the times it's just their realm, right?
Yeah.
We don't know what goes on in exchanges. We don't know a lot. And there's a lot of potential exploits that could happen, either within the exchange itself or, I guess even something like a Mt. Gox situation type thing. It's good to know your assumptions. And in that environment, people are at risk. So, the saying that floated around in the crypto space is use it like a public toilet, get in, get out. Wash your hands.
Yeah. That's a very simple saying, isn't it? And anyone can apply that logic. Everyone would most probably have been in a public toilet at some stage of their life, and everyone knows that situation. In, out, do your business, sit back and relax after the fact.
Yes. So, it's something that users need to account for. Be tactical in that situation, because the reality is we don't know what we're dealing with.
Yeah. Well, that's the troubling part in some respect also, because we've seen, like you mentioned, FTX explode. The old Gary Gensler's on a warpath and throwing out letters left, right, and center, and who knows who is next on that receiving end. But looking at it from the banking perspective and then the centralized exchange, to what extent does that extend, like the fallout on that front? Because ultimately no one knows until it actually occurs how sort of deep rooted these sort of troublesome practices that could potentially be going on is actually occurring. So yeah, it's just have to watch this space and let time sort of let everything come to light.
I do think that the demand is going to be there, right?
Yeah.
So if we have had central actors, the FTX or the Daisy chain that, kind of was set up behind FTX, I don't think the demand is going away, right? I think that there's definitely a use case in the future for this technology. The question is, how can we have custodial actors in this space that, aren't, scammy and offer transparent assumptions. And the reality is, I do think that like the first exchange that has transparent listing assumptions and transparent trading assumptions and actually what people see inside the black box, I think long term that is going to be a very successful model.
I think so, because how could one then not compete with that? And it's a unique use case. Everyone could then know the assumptions, know what they're operating with within in that centralized exchange. If centralized exchange A is doing the same and B isn't, I know which one I'd definitely be utilizing.
Yeah, we kind of saw like a baby step in that direction with the proof of reserves, but even that, as soon as things became a little bit more accountable, you had people auditing it and saying, hey, what's this? And it raised new questions and red flags. It would be nice if that side of the industry could clean up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. It was some of those practices where people were basically transferring funds, taking a snapshot and transferring to different entities after the fact. Numerous other sort of practices, but one thing that we've mentioned numerous times in various channels is basically that proof of liability as well, to balance the proof of reserves and have an overall picture of the operating environment of that entity that you're operating with.
Yeah, it's a crazy space. Hopefully that matures, right? Because the reality is that's probably one of the lower hanging fruits in terms of attack vectors from centralized parties. Like, if you had the NASDAQ that was listing projects that were brought to market by the NASDAQ and, the market maker was the NASDAQ, people would laugh.
Yeah.
Like, the industry really needs to grow up a lot, in my opinion.
Yep. Hopefully we've, if anyone wants to extend this conversation, you can jump on and check out the Hash It Out videos. We go in depth on this numerous sort of times. So this is the developer update. So let's jump into that, mate.
Let's jump into that. Good stuff this week.
Yeah, not wrong. Lots of great updates. Okay, kicking things off, we have Hailypdll and a quick update for the SAFEW wallet. They're working on removing the Explorer dependency and to interact only with the configured node, which is a great feature.
All right, looks like after that we have Grand Gambit. They've added notification to inform relevant stuff, such as announcements, usually posted on social media. Added a comment reward system where each player has a 50% chance of receiving free 10K comment, which is currently worth 12 cents, which is a solid amount in his honest opinion. Thanks to the comment team for that. For every play made, due to user complaints, it looks like he's done so that when you're using the speed pot, where you have X amount deposited and you win, you get paid to the speed pot so that you can keep using it without having to reload it again with funds when they run out after a few plays. And it looks like Grand Gambit had 1.5 transactions a day, or 1.5K transactions a day, which led to waking up with a few reported bugs. All have been fixed. The last 3-4 days, there have been about 3,500 transactions just on that one application. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a great use and feature of the blockchain as well. Like they're utilizing the blockchain. Miners get paid with transaction fees and everything like that. And as you can see, it could be a little bit dangerous there transferring speed pot funds directly back into that pot. So obviously on the gambling front, know your risks. If you have any problems with gambling, check out their page. I think they spun one up there. So have fun, but be aware.
Yeah, and have fun mining your 12 cents a comment. That's funny.
Okay, following on Grand Gambit, we have Captain Nemo, and on the fleet front, they've added a deserializers for the Sigma prop approved D-log and the S group element and S col. They've also hardened the serializer unit tests with full serialize to pass round trips. And then on the Machina Finance side, they're designing the contracts, researching on specialized and high-performance Explorer indexer, and researching extensible off-chain bots framework. That's an interesting concept. That was announced this week, I believe, and it's like an order-based DEX.
Yep. All right, looks like we have MrStahlfelge with Terminus and also with the Ergo wallet. Looks like it's the work last week on the Appkit, and he began to integrate the new node blockchain APIs into blockchain data source. Unfortunately, there are some showstoppers that prevent it to be used in practice, but he hopes he can sort that out soon. The wallet app, Mosaik, some small fixes and minor bugs. EIP, I checked the multisig EIPs, EIP 11 and 41 again, made some remarks, and discussions are ongoing with Morphic about how to add multi-sig support to Appkit and Ergo wallet app, outline some class stubs. That'd be amazing.
yeah, it's good to see some more updates on that front from MrStahlfelge. And following that, we have LADOPIXEL. So this is a pretty cool update. He's got a website there, tracks.ergonfts.org. He's now available. The new interface is being a little delayed. It's taken a little bit longer than expected, and for this reason has decided to upload the one that he currently has. It's a test version and hopes to add the new interface and include some improvements. There's a Twitter link. And then on the other hand, also going to rewrite the ergonfts.org site and have some new and more modern interface. So that'd be nice to see. It's good to see some movement here on the audio NFT front. I think it was Hopium Records actually made mention on Twitter as well, having the ability to be able to share and display and ultimately listen to the soundtracks through this interface.
Yeah, I hope we get some more good music in the ecosystem. It's always a plus in life, if you ask me. All right, next we have greenhat. He said he's not fully recovered, so his progress this week has been quite limited. Finished the off-chain code and tested the governance with the new contract update, the optional reward token amount in his personal pool, and added the optional Explorer URL field to the Oracle config. Next is going to be testing the reward tokens on his pool, and then to start testing the governance and the gold erg pool on testnet. So greenhat, I hope you feel better, buddy.
Yeah, it's kind of been lingering around a little bit there for a greenhat, fortunately. So get better soon, mate. And moving on, we have Glasgow. It looks like he's been busy. So he's been tidying up the docs for the past week, fixing broken URLs, rewriting sections, etc. He's starting to feel a lot more cohesive now. It's starting to look a lot more, feel a lot more cohesive now for the basic stuff. As I added a page for the Howie test in light of the SEC drama. Added a tutorials page. Added all the Ergo hack projects, which are located at various sort of locations, and updated the ecosystem standards. So check that page if you're building on Ergo. He also went through about 100 pages of Discord search results and added every Ergo-related GitHub that he could find to the repository. I think got most of them. Once it's merged, should reflect on Artemis.xyz. You can get a good idea on how they stack up against, or we stack up against other ecosystems in terms of developer activity. So that'll be interesting to see. It also made a GitHub discussion page to discuss the Sigma USD improvement proposals. Need input from people if they want anything to happen, as Sig USD is a bit too decentralized, it seems. So jump on and join that discussion. And the docs.ergoplatform.com site is, I think it's underutilized. There's a wealth of knowledge on there. And, yeah. Let's go start a great job there.
About the GitHub thing. I've always thought in a way that's kind of a silly metric in our space, if I'm totally honest. Because it's like checking to some degree if you're writing a Word document, how often do you hit save?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Add a word. Push.
Yeah. So it's hard to say like, we look at all this GitHub activity and that doesn't necessarily translate to like somebody that does 5,000 lines of code and then updates it.
Yeah. One commit and yeah.
So it's hard to say.
Yeah.
It's hard to say without digging into things.
Yeah.
Next, we hear from Kushti. So looks like Alex has been working on the node and the protocol research and development, reviewed and fixed issues in peer propagation PR, merged with 5.0.8 candidate branch, he extracted more code towards bootstrapping with UTXO-set snapshot. The main UTXO-set snapshot branch is also getting updates. I made a couple of rounds of reviews and reviewed PRs into Sigma and Scripto. With ChainCash, it looks like he modified contracts to support spending few notes in a single transaction. Made some tests for spending few notes and also for change outputs. And on Dexy, it seems as though the team is formed around this open source project that we've been playing with and is working on the back end and UI at the same time. So that's awesome to see.
Yep. Full steam ahead on multiple fronts. Moving on, we have Luivatra, and then on the Koinly CSV extract. Finished up the first version of the Koinly CSV extractor. If anyone's interested, check out the link. On to Paideia, is enjoying the extended node, indexed node to help with keeping the off-chain AVL trees synced with the on-chain trees. Learn to use the subst constants function to verify contracts and newly created DAO to match the correct template. Also preventing malicious bot operators from changing out the contracts before they're locked in the on-chain DAO configuration box.
All right, so it looks like Cheese Enthusiast has been working on Lithos, successfully made collateral contracts that interact with the Coinbase transaction. And he's looking into additions to Node API that would allow for cleaner ways to generate block candidates for Lithos. That's huge. And it looks like on SigmaFi, he's working on loan offerings. The next thing that looks like it's going to be added are limited time orders and simple price-based liquidations, which that's awesome to see.
Yeah, there's a number of, I'd say somewhat significant requests for loans on there at the moment, or the last time I checked, which was about 24 hours ago. So if anyone wants to take on that risk and provide some liquidity there, it'd be very interesting to see how it plays out over time. Okay, so moving on, we have an update from Yasha on Spectrum Finance. On the Ergo side, they've resolved yield farming bundle tokens naming. They're pushing on with the signature aggregation, which is a work in progress. Also added SPF fee refunds to devs, the dev environment. Also fixed SPF execution fee transaction parser behavior. Replaced front-end calculations with back-end methods for yield farming. New history UI UX, it's still a work in progress. And upgrading the meme pool sync with the new changes from the chain sync, which is also a work in progress. On the documentation front, they've updated tech yield farming paper. All yield farming guides are written, just not yet published. And then testing with the closed community group, or the yield farming functionality, the SPF execution fee feature, and the new UI improvements. And moving on to the Spectrum Finance on Cardano side, fixing up some order passing bug, it's a work in progress, and preparing Cardano Analytics backend for launch, which is also a work in progress. And one final little comment, they're also developing the UI UX for the Dexy Bank app with Dmitry Yusov of Dead IT. And if you're interested, check out the Ergo Hack 6 proposal if you haven't had a chance yet.
All right, next we have MGpai. Looks like he's been working on Lilium. Front end is in progress and added more documentation. Highly optimized input selection for any API by writing his own API parsers. The code will be pushed soon. Successfully minted 10,000 NFTs using Lilium, and looks like that took 12 hours, optimizing the speed. Working on the public demo. Looks like the input section, UTOs or UTXOs of a mining address were selected. All these boxes are in JSON format. They only get converted into input box type once needed, as opposed to the built-in Appkit call, which converts everything to input box. Yep. It's a really neat hackathon project.
Yeah, I'd have to dive into that one a little bit more. So moving on, we have a little request here from Noah. So not much of an update, but has been reaching out to front-end devs that he knows at No React to see if he can get Paizo finished, which was a Ergo hack project for the last hackathon. So if you're a front-end dev interested in helping, please get in contact.
All right, looks like next we have MHS with Rosen bridge. The stress test is passed successfully. Some malicious and rare cases. An example, a guard running 2 instances and actively going on and off to interrupt the bridge processes, committing to sign but not signing, etc., are under test and almost finished. The tokenomics are still coming together, but there's been some good progress. He's ready to launch the public test, hopefully in 2 weeks, since the deployment will take some time for configuring a bunch of servers. On Minotaur wallet, looks like currently you have to keep the communication page open during the multisig process. Otherwise, your secret data will be lost. And you have to restart the process from the beginning if that happens. Storing the secret data in the database is done to avoid this. It is pending some UI improvements and will be released soon.
Hopefully that comes together quite nicely, because the multisig, having that basically 2FA just for an individual user case, I think that's a great security addition for yourself there. Scrolling down, looks like ergonames, an update from Balb. So the chain tracking system's almost complete. Basic contracts using AVL trees are written, and modifications to make it more secure is in progress. Also, the transaction builder, so updating the AVL trees and mint token in the same transaction, is complete. There's some private testing going on for the off-chain system with an on-chain AVL tree as a registry. It still needs to update the UI to utilize new contracts also. And development has been slow because of school and work for all of us, but thinks it's starting to come together now nicely. So watch this space.
All right, looks like next we have Ergcube, and they added community pools. It's an awesome website. Everyone should check it out.
The correlation of data and the expansiveness of the entire Ergo ecosystem sort of encapsulated on that website. And there's all kinds of things that you don't really sort of think about, and having it all displayed there nicely, it's a great resource. So following Ergcube, we have SOSA and the Ergode node. It's a tongue twister. So added peers, get peers, and message handling, thinking about integration test harness for the browser, and also looking deeper into the different modes in the reference node client. Scrolling down, it looks like an Unreal on the auction house is the final.
All right. So looks like the auction house has adapted dark mode, and looks like to quickly sort auctions based on different criteria. They store statistics, an example, the number of bids about auctions in a database, and periodically updates them. Testing the redesign of notifications. It looks like they made some UI improvements that are more informative and detailed. Scanning the network is now done in nearly real time. The newly minted blocks are processed immediately for new auctions, bids, artworks, and collections. Looks like they now store smaller thumbnails on their storage to enhance users' experience during browsing activities. Fixed a bug in the auctions and activity APIs, which were returning duplicates. Fixed a few UI bugs regarding components with infinite scrolls. Fixed incorrect timestamps for activities. And it looks like they spent a lot of time this week testing and scanning different things, scanning the blockchain, mainnet, and testnet for new auctions, bids, artworks, and collections. Making sure the processes are done perfectly. The scanning processes are important since the integrity of the website depends on them. And they fixed a few bugs regarding thumbnail creation and uploading them with different resolutions.
Yep, nice one. And that sort of sums up this week's weekly developer update. Lots of good stuff in there. Things coming out of left field. It's good to see a nice little update there from Ergonames. There's numerous other sort of things. So good to see this activity going on in the ecosystem. Obviously, the market sentiment across the board is a little bit rough at the moment with everything that's going on that macro front. But here in our little ecosystem, it's just humming away and everything's looking pretty good.
Yeah, software development is always a grind. I'm really proud of the community, all the different projects that are coming out or in the process of coming out. There's a lot of good stuff there, a lot of depth.
Yeah, that's definitely very well said. So we'll finalize this and we jump onto Grand Gambit and try and accumulate some extra comment.
Yeah, so if you lose, you still win 12 cents, huh?
Win-win, isn't it? All right, guys, thanks very much for tuning in to this weekly developer update. Joe, it's been a pleasure chatting once again, and thank you.
Always.
Have a good one, everyone.